And the whole purpose of the Progressive States Network is to move an agenda across this nation up through the states where we're actually trying to accomplish one thing in 50 different places. And you all know, because you've already done this, whether it was health reform way before the federal government even thought about doing it, states had already done it. Whether it was reforming welfare, no matter how you felt about it, states had already done it. Whether it was looking at criminal justice policy, states had already done it. Whether it was looking at education policy, states had already done it. And we know going into this new administration, we have to link up even more so we can gain as much as we can in this time.
What we're trying to do here is trying to basically use this moment in as many places as possible, this political moment, this economic moment, to finally enact so many of the things that so many of you have been pushing for so long.
To have legislators being part, not just of a legislator group, but since we're meeting with EARN, with advocates, as part of a movement that together can actually plan how to make the states, state by state, an engine of national change.
Across the country, we are grappling with unprecedented budget deficits. And it is going to be essential that federal government come online and that the bailouts and the restructurings and the stimulus packages are tailored to work with and meet the needs in the states and the needs on the ground.
How do we start a discussion? How do we build networks throughout the states that can really talk about economic growth strategies in the states in a different way? I think there is an opening here, and we have to seize it and start changing, not just a little bit on this policy, that policy, but some fundamental discussions about what's been wrong.
I guess the best answer to how government can be considered effective is to be effective. This is what progressives, a radical notion, this is what progressives do. We figure out how to use the instruments of power available to us to improve the quality of people's lives.
Now that we can get back to a world of sort of common sense that people had before all the people in the lead said, no, it makes perfect sense to deregulate everything and let things. We now know a lot of different things that we can do.
Increasing wages.
Raising taxes on the wealthy.
Medicaid or SCHIP or state employee plans.
Immigrant integration.
National popular vote. Job quality standards.
Fiber to the home.
Broadband deployment councils.
Employee classification.
Transparency issues.
Clean energy, green jobs.
Improve our education systems.
Remove the red tape from enrollment.
As progressives, we know that the more people we bring to the polls and the more those people represent the population as a whole, the more progressives are going to have electoral victories.
The proposed reform is a system of universal or automatic registration, where basically the government bears the primary responsibility for getting people on the rolls.
Lowering and eliminating barriers to political participation, particularly for historically marginalized communities.
We get states passing it that represent a majority of the country, and the next election will be a national popular vote for president.
There are huge savings that can come from leveraging broadband to cost-saving mechanisms in healthcare.
Jobs will be created, greenhouse gas emissions will be cut down.
This 21st century economy will be geared through and built with pipelines, but it won't be oil, it'll be megabits.
We all know that people are afraid of the declining wages, that the economy is bad, and they have decided to take it on immigrants. We're going to be going over wage enforcement and the root cause of this problem, which is, in our view, employer violation of labor law.
The principles are we don't really have any place in our state for scofflaw employers.
God bless them if they go forward with health care reform comprehensively at the federal level. But let's fight at the state level to go forward too.
If someone else is doing it, so can you. And if one state can do it, then 2 states, and 5 states, and 20 states.
We need to make sure that whatever is done at the federal level is a floor on which we can build up.
The federal government is, if we leave them to doing what they've done in the past, not only will we be left behind, but they will not succeed.
The health care is going to come from us. It's going to come from the states. And it might look a little different in Washington than it does in Wisconsin than it does in Iowa. but this is where it's going to come from.
I want to be at the ground level. I want to be talking about how to organize it.
We have crises in this country which are very deep and systemic, the problems, and we have a window of opportunity to deal with them.
The urgency is real. I think that means for the Progressive States Network, and I think it means for all of you in working in your own legislatures, that now is the time, more than ever, not to take no for an answer.